Hello everyone, this is Pradeep Gupta. I'm here to speak on the strategies to crack CAT and IIFT. I've been into education and training for more than 15 years with national level organizations, and I did my graduation long back in 1982 from I.I.T. Kanpur, and I've worked in the area of mechanical systems design, and later on I moved over to education and training. Okay, now to speak on the strategies to crack CAT and IIFT, let's try to first of all do the comparison between CAT and IIFT. Okay, based on certain parameters. Now within comparison, okay, we'll do the comparison based on certain parameters. For example, if you look at number of sections, the CAT has 3 sections while IIFT has got 6. So far as sectional cutoff is concerned, yes, it is there in CAT, okay, as well as in IIFT, okay, but the sectional cutoffs are very high in CAT while they are pretty low in IIFT. On the speed front, the speed is moderate in CAT. For example, we have to do 100 questions in 180 minutes, while in IIFT we have to solve around a little over 100 questions in 120 minutes. Now, so far as level of difficulty is concerned, it hovers between high and moderate, while in IIFT the level of difficulty varies from moderate to easy. If you look at the length of questions, those are normally of moderate length, or those are crisp questions, right? Very easy to go through and read and understand. While IIFT questions are normally longer in length, right? And they take time to read and patience, of course. So whereas clarity of language is concerned, the CAT language is fantastic, okay? While in IIFT, the language is rather ambiguous, particularly in DI, and that becomes its own challenge in itself. Now, the second aspect between CAT and IIFT is the cutoff. Now, so far as cutoff is concerned, it's the minimum marks that candidates have to score in the examination to qualify for the next round. For example, GDPI, VAT, etc. Each institute declares its own cutoff. Now, to take some figures from CAT 2018 for the general category, the percentile figures, for example, let's say for IMA, for Quant it is 70, DILR 70, VRC 70, and the overall cutoff is 80. Similarly, the cutoffs varies from the various IIMs, okay? So if you take some other institute, one of the other IIMs, let's say for IIM Kozhikode, okay, the cutoffs are 80 for QA, 80 for DILR, 80 for VRC, and 90 for overall, okay? So the cutoffs vary from IIM to IIM, rather for even for other institutes also. Now, moving over to IIFT, the cutoffs for general category in terms of marks. For 2017, for VA, it is 3.5 out of 20. For RC, 2.69. For QA, 3.01, and so on, as you can see in the slide, okay? So rather, the cutoffs vary from 5% to around 15%, okay, of the total marks, okay, for that particular section. Similarly, for 2018, also the cutoffs are rather low, okay, but as we can see, the sectional cutoff is there, and that becomes another challenge. Now, if you look at the overall cutoff, it's going down, and that depends on the level of difficulty of the overall paper, okay. For example, if you look at 2017, the overall cutoff is around 50, okay, and if you look at the people, the range of marks that people get, that 58 plus marks out of 100 was secured by 100 percentilers. So if you see that the cutoff, overall cutoff is 50, and at 58 one is getting the 100 percentile, okay. That means most of the people are lying between such short range, okay. And while the overall cutoff came down to 34 drastically, because one of the sections was extremely difficult, way different from normally what it has been, what it has been there. That's it. Okay, while one is preparing for CAT, one has to look at certain challenges that one has to face in IIFT. For example, more sections with sectional cutoffs. Another one is ambiguity of language that we have talked about earlier. Okay. Another challenge that has recently come up in the last 2 years is that one of the sections is difficult. For example, in 2017, DI was difficult, and in 2018, LR was very difficult. Out of, I would say, around 20 questions, hardly 8 to 9 questions I could call them as falling into the easy category. Then switching from one section to other section may not be allowed in the forthcoming online test. Okay, and in addition to some other changes that we may not foresee at this point of time. Students normally start their preparation for IIFT after CAT, which hardly gives them enough time to get used to their IIFT pattern. That's another challenge that one goes through when the CAT is over and one is gearing up to appear for the IIFT exam next week. Yes. Now let's talk of strategy for the preparation of CAT as well as IIFT. So one should get a foothold of the topic by practicing on concept builders. Okay, and after that, to gain depth and confidence by going through application oriented problems in a hierarchical manner. For example, level 1 questions, then level 2 questions, then level 3, and so on. Okay, so that one builds up enough confidence to move on further. One should also maintain accuracy of around 90% with no compromises, and one should not bother about building up the speed at the cost of accuracy at all. One should develop the habit of developing alternative solutions by lateral thinking or different from conventional line of thinking. Could be out of the box thinker. This will enhance your speed too. One should try to think of the solution while reading the problem. And by the time you finish of the reading process, the solution should be there in your mind. This process will build up your speed enormously. Also, you should be able to assess how much time it will take to solve the problem. This is a very important point. How much time you should be taking to solve the problem so that one can decide whether to attempt the problem while reading or attempt it later or should not attempt it at all while taking the test, despite knowing the solution, since it is at a premium in an exam. Why I'm saying all this is because time is a major constraint, okay, and one has to go through to the end of the section within the same time frame and attempt all the easy to moderate or rather easy to moderate problems only. For the difficult problems, one is advised to leave them. Then take extensive topic-wise workshops. These workshops are intensive sessions to be done in time-bound manner with a variety of difficult levels to gain confidence and consolidation and reinforcement of concepts. Now, one should take mocks after one has gained enough overall confidence in the subject matter. For every mock, analysis is the key thing. One should figure out the red zones where he has attempted a problem, fetching negative marks. This will give him twin benefits. He'll be able to know his gray areas so that he can work upon them. and the time spent on red zone can be used to solve more problems. Hence, it's going to improve his score overall. One more piece of advice so far as preparation is concerned, that one should not bank upon taking too many mocks. Rather, one should take mocks once a week or once in 2 weeks initially, okay, and try to analyze it thoroughly. And whatever weak areas he comes across, he should work upon those areas and gain confidence and then go for the next mock. Let us now talk about the test taking strategy. Now, to do that, one should divide the time across various sections if that is allowed in the test. For example, up till now in the IIFT test, which was the paper-based test, one was able to divide the time at his will across various sections based on his comfort level, okay, and also he could decide over the sequence of sections to be attempted. In the forthcoming online test in IIFT, one may not have the freedom to go through that, okay. This has to be seen either at the time of the exam or maybe based on some direction that one may get before one goes for the exam. Now, one should devote more time to easier sections in order to maximize the score. One should scan sections in the given time frame without sacrificing accuracy at all, so that one is able to attempt all the easy to moderate problems till the end of the section. This is a very, very important step, that once somebody is going through the section, he should be able to reach the end of the section, and whatever problems are scattered from the beginning to the end, which are of the easy to moderate category, one should be able to attempt those problems. Then one can have a quick scan of DI and LR sections. Why? Because particularly DI is a time consuming section, okay, and many people avoid the DI section of IIFT. So even for the CAT also, people normally are afraid of DI and R sections, okay. So what one can do is, you can initially spend some time in going through the DILR section and try to select the right sets to work on. If a section is difficult, do not make wild guesses at all. Stick to the 90% accuracy rule strictly. And now let's talk of the strategy for IIFT. One should focus more on lower maths and probability so far as quant is concerned. It has been observed that topics like algebra, arithmetic, number systems, geometry, okay, are very prevalent across most of the section, okay. And although the questions are little lengthy in nature in terms of the text, okay, but so far as solutions are concerned, those are pretty easy to attempt, and the only hiccup is that one has to have the patience to go through them. So another very important aspect is that one should have the patience while reading lengthy problems. One should solve 5 to 6 past year papers to get acclimatized to IIFT types of questions, okay. So you take up some papers from the last couple of years and try to solve the questions category wise. Pick the right questions and solve them, okay. One should also take mocks, and I mean actual mocks of IIFT papers of the latest 5 years. That will really give you the feel of taking the actual IIFT papers. Also, there is a usual habit that students normally do not bother about IIFT preparation. They prepare for CAT and they keep on preparing for CAT till CAT is over, and right after 1 week IIFT is there, and there is hardly any time for people to study for IIFT after CAT. So it's a strong advice to all IFT aspirants to start preparation of IFT right away as the registration of IFT starts. Now let us talk about what is a good attempt for IIFT. One should try to attempt around 60% of the problems that comes in the exam to be on the safe side. Now this 60% is to be spread over the sections falling in the comfort zone of the student. And accordingly, one should decide the amount of time that he has to spend over these sections. That will optimize his attempts over the given time. And also one can decide over the sequence of the sections if that is permitted in the new pattern, that is the online pattern. That's it. Okay. So now, keeping in mind the preparation for IIFT, one can refer to the book on IIFT past year papers published by Wiley. This book contains exhaustive as well as alternative solutions with appropriate reference to the concepts required for the problem. With this, I'm concluding the seminar and opening the platform for your questions now.